sponsored by them. Sponsored by them. But I guess those other schools are bigger, so they probably would need more money.
I got you. Try now. Try now.
Miss Daphne?
Yes.
Okay, we can hear. You can hear us now.
I turned the
Can't hear you. Someone said something about I would need to share your slides. Let me just see if I have one of the a different presentation that I can find, because I don't.
Yeah, I understand. Like when you're talking, it's better just to have your own set of slides as well. But just in case we do have it.
Yeah, she gonna have to get it because I don't think it's gonna send.
I don't know if I have a student. Bennett first. Okay, let me see something. Maybe this is an old one.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I'm gonna have to project it because it's doing that. It's not gonna send. So I'm gonna have to project it myself.
If you share it, do PowerPoint.
Let me see.
Now this one, the one I have is from back when Biden had all the rules, so that doesn't apply. I maybe can pull up a second one.
Yeah, this is it.
Once I kind of finish the credit, but it's not much here. It's only about 5 slides on credit. It's nothing new.
Okay.
This is from 2022. This is from 2022. That's all I can. Yeah. So is that what you all want me to do? To just add some information about student loans? We don't have any updates on anything that the government's doing.
Okay. Did you receive it to your email as well?
I just
receive what?
The PowerPoint of student loan management.
You mean just now?
Yes.
I didn't look. Do you want me to go with credit and debt, or what do you want me to do?
Student loan preferably.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Thank you.
No.
So you did it already?
Give me one moment. Let me ask Professor Tammy.
I have the slides and I can share
it. I have 5 slides on it from an old presentation, so once we finish the credit and debt, because it's credit, debt, and student loan, but I'll have to take a lot out because it was back when you had the Biden rules, but those don't apply. So it just talks about Pell Grants and that, so I can go over that. So
okay.
I guess get started. I can just do the credit one for now.
Yes, you can. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. What did Miss? Just give us one moment.
Okay, come back over here.
Huh? Okay. Yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead on with the credit and debt, and if you could mention some student loan things as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
As people come in, they can start with this questionnaire using the QR code.
Hello, everyone. So as you come in and sit down, could you please scan the QR code and just answer a pre-test evaluation for us? That would be greatly appreciated. Hello, everyone that is coming in. If you could just scan the QR code once you sit down and start taking the pre-test, that would be amazing.
Okay, good morning, ladies. We're going to get started with our presentation soon, but before we get started, we would just like for you all to scan the QR code and just answer short questions. It'll take about literally 1 minute to do so on your um, prior knowledge of credit and debit management. Also, it's a little change of plans. We will be talking about credit and debit management today, but we'll also get into a little bit of student loan management at the end.
And I think in the interest of time, we probably need to get started.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Asada Palmer. I'm a major in psychology with a minor in entrepreneurship. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I am a graduating senior and also a student ambassador for Society of Financial Education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Quintea Lockhart. I'm from Havelock, North Carolina. I am also a student ambassador for the Society of Financial Education and Professional Development, and my major is business administration, and I minor in entrepreneurship. And today, I will be introducing the lovely Miss Daphne Wright. Daphne Wright is a certified life coach and working in the area of personal finances. She is a certified financial planner, professional, and a CPA. She shares that her 20 plus years of experience in client consulting helped develop her acumen for coaching. It became clear to her that those traditional financial advising methods were insufficient to address the broad spectrum of issues that contribute to economic challenges. She's a strong adherent of behavioral economics and views its insights as a valuable in dealing with the root causes of persistent financial problems. She founded Strides Life Enrichment Concepts, LLC, Strides, to help people enact changes in their economic lives using more holistic approaches. Strides provides financial coaching and non-traditional financial education to help with developing proper mindsets and skill sets for improved economic decision making. Along with other financial education projects, she has served as a seminar presenter for SFE NPD since 2005. She has partnered recently with SFEPD to develop coaching programs for faith-based institutions of higher learning and to provide individual financial coaching to seminary students. Daphne completed her formal coach training focused on the field of applied positive psychology and obtained certification in personal development and executive coaching from the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in finance from the University of Maryland and a master's in financial services from the Institute of Business and Finance. She is actively and separately engaged in providing financial advice as an independent advisor in tax professionals. Now I will turn it over to Ms. Daphne Wright.
Hello, everyone. So, we're going to be talking about credit and debt, and this is just an area that so many people just may not be familiar. Well, you're familiar with it, but people often get into problems just because of lack of knowledge. So this is really to give you some practical understanding of some of the issues that can come up and try to help you to stay out of debt. And to use credit well, use credit wisely, and to use it for wealth. So one of the reasons that SFEPD is in the HBCUs is really because the issues that often occur in Black and brown communities. So 54% of African Americans report no credit or poor credit score. So that's a score below 640. okay? And then, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reports that Blacks and Hispanics, and those who live in low-income neighborhoods, they have, higher credit invisibility. So what that really means is that, um, there is no credit. So when you want to go and use credit or you need credit for something, because there is no report, there's no ability to even assess, your credit worthiness. So we want people to not be afraid of it. Sometimes you hear things, and I'm going to avoid this, I'm going to be only in cash and things like that. So we want you to be knowledgeable, so that even if you get credit, you use it in a way that in future years it didn't hurt you by obtaining it. So we're going to talk about managing credit and debt and
Ms.
look
Wright?
at how.
Ms. Wright, I'm sorry, if you could just take down your chat. It's covering up part of the slides.
Oh, how do I do?
Can you see
It's
it?
here, right here. I see it, but I
Yes.
don't know how to
Or
get rid of it.
I need to put it to the side, maybe.
Okay. Is that good? I never knew that. Yeah, I don't see how to take it off.
Okay.
Okay. Is
It's
that
okay.
good?
It's still up there, but you could just continue. Yeah, you can just continue.
Sorry about that. I was trying to get it out of my way. I didn't know you all were seeing it. Okay. So how to identify actions that could damage your credit report, and we just want to make sure that if you do that, you can get back in the game and rebuild this. And this is information that we want you to share, not only for yourself, but share it with your family. Just like the ambassadors are out there and they're out there serving the community, we want you to be able to, we want you to also take this information. I apologize. Okay, here we go. To be able to take this information and help your people in your household, your family members as well. So we want to really be distinguishing the difference between debt and credit. So debt is just going to be the total, everything that you owe someone, right? So that's going to be your student loans, if you have a car loan, your credit cards, things like that. Anything you borrow, tax debts, that's not something we want, particularly. We don't want to be in debt. But credit is a positive thing. So credit is a resource for us. So credit is the ability to borrow money that is, and that is something that you want to put yourself in the position that someone is going to provide you the resource so that you can do the things you want. However, as you use credit, anything that you put on credit is going to be added to your debt. So, as bottom line, credit gives you the ability to acquire goods and services today, but you're going to pay later. And so you got to remember that when you're borrowing, okay, you can increase the amount that you're going to end up paying for anything you buy. So if you're going to get a car, or you're going to pay the principal plus the interest. I'm gonna move this down. Maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know why that can't go off. Let me hit the escape. Yeah. Okay. And so we're just going to keep that in mind, that it can get in the way. So what are lenders looking at that they're going to grant you credit? So first is your capacity. And your capacity is things like, how long have you been on your job? What is your income? And so they're going to be, a lender is first going to want to know that information. So that's your capacity to pay, your ability to pay your debts, okay? And then your character is a little bit different. That's going to kind of be like your reputation for paying your bills. You can get this information from your credit report, that they're going to pull your credit report. This is called credit worthiness. But basically, they're going to look at how have you paid your bills in the past, okay? And it's not like, it is not based on your capacity, because we probably all know people who make good money, but they may not pay their bills on time, right? Or they may have gone over their head, or had circumstances, or may have mismanaged credit, and regardless of your income, you still may have poor your character, your reputation for paying bills. Do you pay on time? That could be something. And then collateral is when it's often for certain kinds of loans. Do you have, if for any reason your capacity to pay is impaired, like if you lose your job, do you have a bank account? Okay, do you have assets? Do you have anything else that would allow you to pay your bill? Okay, so a bank account, but then there's certain loans that just like a house, the collateral is the house, a home mortgage, the loan, the collateral is the house. If you don't pay if you don't pay your mortgage, they take the house. So let's just look at a couple of things that's going to be important to you as you go forward. A secured credit is going to be secured by collateral. That's going to be things like I already mentioned your mortgage, but it's going to be your car, right? So it's secured by the asset you purchase. So you're pledging something in case you can't pay. Unsecured is just, you walk in, you get a loan, you sign papers, it's a promise to pay. It is not secured by anything. This is like credit cards. If you don't pay your credit card bill, no one comes and gets the things that you bought, right? Then credit lines is to have an ability, just an open line. You have a limit. You have a limit to pay. You have a limit to charge, and it stays open. And you can use it when you need it or you don't need it. So a credit card is really a credit line. That's going to be based on your limit. You have a limit of 1,000. So it is a credit line. They have certain things called HELOCs, home equity line of credit. If you need to tap into that loan, you can, and you can get money. And if you don't use it, that's fine too. And then we look at alternative credit. This is where you want to stay away from. And this is usually going to be in low-income neighborhoods. Those are those payday loans. Those are going to be pawn shops. They're going to be the rent-to-own kinds of things. And they really have exorbitant interest rates. They can be, you want to stay away from them because they can be 100% or several hundred% of interest, right? They're not regulated like regular credit cards, and so they are really predatory. They have those for your car. Get the deed to your car and you can get a loan, right? So you really do not want to use that, and that does not help your credit report and build your credit. An installment credit is going to be a set amount to pay for a certain amount of time. So that's going to be like your car loan, right? So you know that you're going to pay $400 a month for the next 5 years. So it's an installment. You're paying in installments. Then revolving credit, that is, you can use the credit as long as you want, as long as you pay on time. It's revolving. That is a credit card. You do not have to pay your credit card off ever. You only have to pay the minimum amount. So you can continue to use it and pay your bill. You can do that as long as you pay that minimum amount. And then collateral, we talked about that. The collateral is the thing that the secured credit is secured by. So the home, the car, and the bank account. So understand the pros. We understand that it's convenient. You don't want to be walking around with mounds of cash, right? So a credit card is convenient. It's there to cover emergencies. So we really want you, particularly we feel like in your junior and senior year, it would be a good thing to begin to establish credit, because the things you may need when you graduate, you may need to have credit to obtain. So if you have that, it's to cover emergencies. And emergency is like, hey, it's not something that just comes up, right? Oh, we got tickets for the concert, right? I didn't know it was coming up. It's those real emergencies. So to have that, you may have a flat tire, there's something you need to get home quick, you get a plane ticket, that kind of thing. It also builds assets, right? So many of the people, Americans who have build wealth, do it by using credit. You use credit to purchase appreciating assets. So if you use credit to buy a home, that home appreciates. right? You use credit to buy a rental property or to maybe build your business. You are using credit to build assets, build wealth, and then to build future credit. So if you use credit wisely, you can get more credit. And you do that and you get more credit, right? And you can be able to do more things. So what's the cons? Well, we probably know that. You all heard I'm really into behavioral finance, so I see the cons a lot. So, I said that it's a resource to have credit, but it's really a temptation. You're like, yeah, let's eat. Let's go out and I'll pay it later. Right? So our brains don't work in a way that we are thinking about the consequences. We're like, oh, that's gonna come. Well, probably your money is already locked up. Your future money already probably has to cover future expenses. So it's really a temptation. Oh, I'll go ahead and get that. Or you may pay more for something because you have a credit card, right? That's different than paying cash. So you have to know a little bit about yourself that you may be tempted, and you also may not be the kind of person who's tempted, but you may not have good money management skills and you're not keeping a log of your spending, and so you still can get into debt. We know many people who have debt. I love the Judge show. I love Judge Mathis and everything. Everyone let somebody use their credit and, they're coming back because someone spent and didn't pay. So we'll want the thing, but we're not willing always to pay. And then it's just going to keep you from saving and investing. The biggest thing about what we're doing in speaking to you is not just to look at things in a limited way. By you having debt, you're unable to then save because the money, every time you get a paycheck, it has to go to the debt. And so we want you to not have this debt so that you can save and invest. So wealth building. So we want to use credit to build wealth, but we don't want to have debt because debt keeps us from being able to save and invest, which are the activities that will build wealth. And then they increase the cost of anything you're going to get if you don't pay the balance because you're going to be paying interest on that. So you could go out and buy some jeans for $50, and if you're paying the minimum every month, those jeans no longer cost $50. They end up be costing $66, right? So, and if you do anything bigger, it's going to be a lot more. And so it's just basically a drain on resources. So what's the good things about credit? If you have good credit, high credit scores, then you are going to be, when you go to get credit, you're going to have lower interest rates, and you're going to be able to just get credit whenever you need it. So the disadvantage of having poor credit is anything you every time you apply for something, you're going to have higher interest rates, right? Less people, less businesses are going to even grant you credit. And we're not just talking about things you want to buy. Landlords look at credit. Can you live in this apartment? Well, we're going to check your credit, and if the credit was poor, they're not going to try to work with you. They don't want to know the story behind why that happened. They have 10 other applicants that are not going to be a risk to them. So you may not be able to move there, right? And then the big one for you all in college is the employment opportunities, because it's just a standard procedure for mid to large employers as part of their intake is to have you complete the information that says yes, we can pull your credit, and they have just a set criteria of this level of credit score. So you don't want to be the best student, you may be the most qualified applicant, but because of their rules and standards for how they screen, you may not be able to get the job because of your credit score. It also increases insurance premiums, so everything you buy is more expensive. You get the car, but insurance premiums on that car are going to be based on that. And then you just don't have the peace of mind of credit approval. So one of the things that we really suggest is that you use such a debt tracker. And this is going to help you furniture, you feel like you make a decent income, and you say, okay, well, 3,000 to get everything I need in my apartment, right? So what are you going to be paying attention to? Anyone can give you a low price. You said, oh, I can afford $43 a month. Okay, the interest rate is 6, but do you see that that's going to take you 7 years to pay off? That's not something you might want to even consider doing, right? And then look at the total interest, 681, and that's just something that's dragging on for 7 years. You know, literally, if you bought your apartment, you know, a couple of years ago, you want to be done with that because you got new things you want to try to do. You may be trying to get a car in 3 or 4 years. So while it looks nice now to get a 43, I can afford this, or usually it's going to be the salesperson saying, it's only going to cost you $43. You can afford that. And you're like, yeah, I can handle that. But you're not literally paying attention to the interest rate, how long it's going to take you, because you know we're kind of payment sensitive, right? Not cost sensitive. So the cost, if you look at the total cost, is pretty high. Look at the next example, 3,000, and you're going to pay a little bit more, which may be affordable to you, particularly if you try to budget and cut out other things in your your daily life at the time because you want to be financially sound. So that would be a 5%, looking at 5% interest rate. You can knock that out in 3 years, okay? And then look at the total cost is less. So these are the things that usually get people in traps, what we're not looking at, what we're not paying attention to, and just how we, we're kind of, like to say, oh, I can afford 43. So, what you would really want to do is to stop and say, wait a minute, I can do this in 80, I can afford $90. I just need to give up the Starbucks coffee every morning, right? And then you also want to say, and in 3 years, I'll knock that out because in year 4, I probably want to get a new used car. And I don't want to have this other debt hanging out. Plus, I got my student loans. I want this to be knocked out and be dealing with that. So this is the kind of mindset that you really need to come up with. And the best way to do it is to do it visually so you can see the numbers and say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. These are not things you usually think about in your head. So the 2 things when you're dealing with debt is the 2 things we really want you to pay attention to is the debt to limit ratio. This is something that many people are not familiar with. So lenders are going to be looking at what is your debt to the credit limit that you've been given. So let's just say you get a credit card and you can charge up to $1,000, right? And you carry a balance of about $300. So when you do the math, you're at 30%, a 30% debt to limit ratio. And let's just say in the same example, you're doing, you keep an accumulated balance, you only pay the minimum, but your balance is staying around 450, hovering around 450, that's 45%. I will tell you that the way the lenders look at things, they do not want you to have a credit limit of any more than 30%. And as soon as it goes to above 30%, your credit score decreases. Now you may say that's not fair because you got $1,000 limit, so even if you pay on time, pay the minimum on time, it still will decrease your credit score because lenders are comfortable at 30%. So they want to make sure that if something happens, you lose your job and you're up to 99% or 80%, they're going to be in trouble. So that's the number. It may not be fair. What we want you to do is be informed because often you're like, why can't I get new credit? How come they turn me down for this loan or this? And the reason is, I always pay my bills. You may say, I always pay my bills. Why would they turn me down? It could be this right here, and it probably would be if this were your scenario. So you need to know that, and then you manage your debt based on the knowledge of understanding how the game is played. The other one is the debt to income ratio. So this is looking at what is all your debt, totaling your debt. And so in this example, we're looking at student loan, car loan, credit card, and personal loans, which totals $600. You compare this to a person making $2,500 a month. So the debt to income ratio is 24. What you really want to do is stay below 20. So when you're going to a lender and you're looking or you're trying to get a credit card, you may try to go for a car loan or any other kind of personal loan, you need to be under 20. And you may be saying, I definitely can handle it, but the way they're looking at it is you probably have 80% of living expenses that you need your money to go to. And if you are paying more in debt than 20%, right, and we give you another loan, you're going to go over that. And so we're in jeopardy because we know people pay their bills first, right, before they get their credit card. You're going to make sure you pay your rent and some of us will pay to make sure we go on a trip, right, before we pay our bills, right? So that's what they know. So that's what they're going to do. So that's why I just always say, even with my mind's eye as a certified financial planner, is I'm saying one of the basic things is you need to be clear on keeping a budget, because the budget will affect whether you're paying the credit. So don't just get stuck on credit. Understand that underlying that is good money management, which kind of starts with paying attention to where am I spending, what am I doing, and also paying attention to your personal proclivities, right? That's what gets people in trouble. When I'm coaching, I'm dealing with your behavior. When I'm doing it as a financial advisor, I'm dealing with money. But your personal proclivities is the thing that gets you in trouble. There may be people who love to buy shoes. And when I talk about things like this, I don't exclude myself. I like shoes, I like clothes, I like to decorate my house, things like that. Everyone has their thing, but you have to understand that so that you can manage those things. So look at this formula. There's a lot of formulas when we look at finances, but just look at this. When you add up all these things that are now your debts, it literally comes out to your future income is spent and committed. So every time you get a paycheck, every time you get a tax refund, it's nothing that helps you to go forward, move forward, improve yourself. It's really basically taking whatever you get every month and sending it off to what's already passed. So you don't want to get that, and we want you to think this way so that you can notice, because we're present-minded. Our brain looks at what we want now. But our brain doesn't click into what's happening in the future, and so that's where we get kind of jammed up. So these are becoming very popular now. Buy now, pay later, BNPL. I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but these are becoming very popular. And so they're short-term financing where you generally are paying, like they have a lot called forepay, and at the time you purchase, they'll give you the option. You can pay now, and then each week or each month, you can pay the next 3 payments. So some go by week, and you say, oh, that's a good deal, right? Just be careful. Number one, they don't help your credit. They may help you purchase your amount, but I'm a behaviorist, and I do think that this is an area that you have to understand. Often what happens is you were all ready to pay this anyway, and now you've kind of created a debt. Meanwhile, the next month you may have other expenses. So you want to be careful with this because they are something new. And every time we have new financial products and new financial strategies, there's going to be the good part, and there's going to be the part that hurts people, right? Just like when we went to, I'm old enough to know when everything was cash, right? When it's cash and you look at your cash or you look at your checkbook and you're like, I'm not spending money now, because you just swipe. No one calculates what's in their business account anymore. And so having to give someone cash back in the day, you're like, no, I'm keeping this in my wallet, right? So these are going to probably be problematic. And I actually looked at something on YouTube yesterday, and I just saw that I think it was something like 24% of people are already with this new concept, relatively new concept, have been delinquent. So that can affect it can be reported to a credit bureau, even though it doesn't help your credit report for the most part. But if you don't pay someone, often that can affect you. So these are the companies that you probably see. You probably already seen maybe, and they have those um, for pay programs. And then I look at some of them there, they charge interest. Many don't charge interest, okay? But just be careful because it's always there may be something and this is the best thing for you because there may be something you need or really want and you're like, that's the only way I'm going to get it. But, that's at the same time, we want to think about the temptation and what is it doing? Is it helping you or is it helping the retailer? Okay. So types of credit cards, we have bank cards. These are the cards that you've seen with the MasterCard Visa logo. Basically, you can use them anywhere. So with those bank cards, you're not doing business with Visa or MasterCard, but they're issued by banks. You're always going to see a particular bank on that card, Capital One, Wells Fargo, but you're doing business with those banks, but it's a Visa Master used by everywhere. Then you see charge cards. Now, charge cards, for example, the green American Express is a charge card. There is no limit, but you have to pay at the end of the month. So if you charge $1,000 or $1,200 on that charge card, they'll let you charge once you're approved to use the card, but you're going to have to pay the whole amount in full at the end of the month. Then retail cards, you're familiar with this. These are cards that are issued by that particular store that you like. That could be your Best Buy card or Macy's card or things like that. So the thing with retail cards, well, first of all, we know that if you have a MasterCard Visa, you can use it everywhere. But a retail card is going to be used by that. Maybe you get some kind of benefits or whatever. But anytime, if you become, a retail card is always going to have high interest rates, starting at, say, 21, 22, 26. Whereas your Visa and MasterCards, you may get an 8, well, probably starting out, you're going to get something like, 11, 17, but over time, you can get a lower interest rate, right? I have a credit card that's just 6.99, right? But you don't call up a retail company and ask for a lower rate. It's just solid. They have high rates. They don't negotiate with you. So you can get in problems if you charge too much because that interest rate, if you think of a 25% interest rate, that means 1/4 of what you spent is over a year would be added to it. Secured credit cards, we already talked about this, but what I didn't talk about is that with a secured credit card is you can use these if you have damaged your credit or if you know someone who's damaged your credit and you want to get back. Because the way it is, the lender can issue a card from, let's say, $300 to a $5,000 balance, depending on your circumstance. But let's just say they say, okay, you put $500, you put it in the bank account here. Let's see, Capital One gives you a credit card. $500 in the bank. Okay, you cannot use it because this card is secured by this money. Now, you use this card, wisely, you pay on time, then what you're doing now is building back credit. And it could be that you're in a situation where you're not going to get any credit because your credit score is damaged. Or maybe you can't get initial credit. So you want to do this, maybe you want to start with 300, maybe 500, whatever. But then if you use this well, after about 18 months to 2 years, you're going to say, you will be able to get an unsecured card. They'll give you your money, access to your money, or give you your money back, and it's no longer secure, but you now have a 2-year credit history, and you can move forward, okay? And then affinity cards are kind of used where some of the proceeds may go to a college or a nonprofit organization. So how do these companies make money? They make money basically by charging you interest. So keep in mind, anytime you're paying, interest, that is money going to them. So that's the APR. You'll hear that. Sometimes they have annual fees. Grace period for a credit card is not like grace period for insurance, where after the due date, you get another 30 days. It's just meaning from the time you use it for a purchase to when the bill is due. but it's not the same. So do not get that mixed up. Once you're late for a credit card, it can go onto your credit report. How are we with time? I just want to make sure now.
It's 10:42. 11:42.
When do you need to end? When do you need to end?
12.
Oh, okay. So,
11:45. My apologies, Mr.
so we need to kind of wrap up?
Yes.
Okay, I just want you all to, for the credit report, right? I want all of you all to be able to pull your credit reports. These are the 3 credit reports, right? And you really want to do this, you can get a free credit report every year to see what is on your credit. And don't necessarily think because you've never used credit that you don't have anything. Sometimes you find out that somebody that you didn't know was using your social security. So you want to pull your credit report. You have student loans, that's going to be on there, but you want to see what your credit is, right? This is not a credit score. It's not a credit score, it's just a report. You have to pay for a credit score, but you want to make sure this is clean because sometimes it may take a little while to clean it up. And you don't, the thing I really already talked to you about, you don't want to go to get a job and the first time your credit report was pulled was by somebody else and they find something that you should have known about yourself and may have dealt with or cleaned it up or whatever you needed to do, maybe some hospital bills, or as I said, we've seen things where people have used your credit and you didn't know, maybe there's some recourse for that. This is very important. You can, if you use annualcreditreport.com, not this Credit Karma, you get one report every year for free, right? So you can do them all at the same time. You get one from Equifax, Experience, and TransUnion every time, at all at the same time, and you can do it every 3 months. Do Equifax 3 months, Experian another 3 months later, TransUnion, and then maybe see if there's any issues that are changing. Not that all will report to this, but you want to do this. So this is the one homework that, as we're talking about this, that I want all of you to do by going on annualcreditreport.com and see what information is on here, because this is the main places where companies will report. So the last things I do want you to, you can see really good, if you want to pay for your credit score, these are what you consider good and bad scores. So you want to look at certain things and say, how can I get it better? Maybe it's invisible credit, where we talked about before, you're not even on the board. And so maybe you want to think about, how do I start using credit so that I can get the number? This is really quick. These are the factors. One is your payment history. That is how much, how long have you had debt, and how, well, your payment, but paid on time, 30 days late, 60 days late, that's going to be a big one. And the other one is outstanding debt. That's where I've already talked about the debt to limit ratio. These are the 2 biggest pieces that are going to affect you. And so those are the things that you want to manage well. And so I think I hit most of the things, but if you can also, here's just some real quick things. If you can take the QR code reader and see, test your knowledge now. I really think I've hit most of those things. I think the most I can say is really to start using some, even if you don't have that, use budgeting tools, because if you budget with cash and pay attention to money management strategies and skills, when you get credit, you are less apt to, be tempted to use money, because you've already just paid attention to how you manage your money, right? And you don't, this won't be new. That would be one. The other thing is, I'm going to say is, be familiar with your own kind of habits and proclivities. Like, God, do I start eating out more and getting coffee, or going to the mall more when I have this? Or do I say yes to people when they say, you want to do this? And when I don't have money, So be careful about that because if those are the things that usually kind of ease people into these issues and they wish they would have known before. So those are the things. So I'm sorry that we had so little time. I think some people wanted to know about student loan. We really don't have many updates on the student loan because the changes are in flux, but they are not like the robust things that you all were probably understanding a couple of, was that over a year ago? They're more for people who have been in school longer, 10 years and things. So we don't have much to say because they're still fleshing things out. There are some deadlines for those individuals is April 30th. And I think it's CFPB that it's a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is kind of looking at that. But there's not much that we can say because things are not solidified. But it is not as robust as many of you probably remembered anticipating before.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Daphne Wright, for speaking to us this morning. We do have a quick question in the chat. The chat asks, will your credit score decrease if you pay your card early?
No, your credit score does not decrease if you pay your card early. There's maybe strategies for people. If someone has bad credit, they may want to pay it over time so that they start a payment history. But if you just have regular credit and you just want to pay your balance off, no, it will not ever decrease, right, for that. Now, I think what someone may be asking is the credit bureau is only looking at your score like one time a month. So let's just say you charge and then you pay it off really quick. And so it is even before they know that you've charged anything. So you really don't show up a history of charging. So that can maybe not help your credit score, but it's not going to make it go down. So often I just tell someone to, don't necessarily, maybe you keep a very low balance so that they see activity. But if as soon as you charge, you pay it off, by the time they look at it, there's no activity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But yeah, never, so you really want to do, if you're trying to establish credit, that would be something you're doing. Now, if someone already has good credit and they're where they need to be, I'm not going to encourage them to not, keep paying your bills. There's money management activities and there's credit management activities. So you want to make sure you're balancing both.
Thank you, Ms. Daphne Wright. Ladies, can you please give her a round of applause for being such a great speaker this morning and telling us the importance of debit and credit. Moving forward, we're gonna ask Ms. Betty if she could speak about the loan, student loan. I'm sorry, Ms. Daphne.
Someone for the QR code again. You said a couple of things about the loans.
Yes.
Yeah. If you can do that quick, I can pull up another PowerPoint real quick.
Yes.
I think someone wanted to see the QR code real quick.
Okay.
We're gonna have Betty do that part, right?
Tell her, we have a speaker.
Yes, Ms. Betty, she's gonna speak about student loans, Ms. Daphne.
Oh, somebody else is? Okay.
Yes. Thank you
Okay,
again.
thank you.
You're welcome. Nice seeing you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate all of the information that, I don't know if I made that. Okay, thank you so much. I do appreciate Ms. Wright's information that she has shared with us. And to let you know that the information and the website that I have given to all of you, even when you were in the freshman year, concerning project success and the online financial literacy courses that you are required to complete. This is the same information in which this will be a repeat and a review for you if you go on and do this and do these credit reports here that you're supposed to do, because it goes into managing your credit. It talks about your budgeting. It talks about all of the information information that you need in order to be able to, when you get out into society, that you will be able to really address and not have any hindrance in what you want to do. Because your credit report, as she was telling you, it is really a picture of you, what you do. It shows your time management skills. It shows your budgeting skills. It shows how you manage your life and all of the things that it is made up of. So I would like for you to make sure that you go to the website and complete the financial resources that you have here for you. And I'm sure that you have that on your website. I want you to write this down if you don't have that, this website. It is the Project Success, finlit.org/Bennett. And it is, you click on that website if you've never been there before, and then you're going to register your name, set up your password, and then you're to complete the 14 courses. And as I said, in there, it has on there, paying for college, basic budgeting, troubles in case you get into this, and that's what she was telling you here, that you wanted to be able to handle any areas in which you have maybe, in your overcharged something, so you want to know how to really get that taken care of. If you run into where that you have gotten into trouble with identity theft, scamming, which is something very popular nowadays. So you want to make sure that you want to keep your information clear, okay? And do you have any questions?
Ms. Betty, can you give that website again?
Yes, I will give that website again. If you will, it is, write that down. www.projectsuccess.org/Bennett. You will go into that website and you will be able to register for the courses that's required of you, okay? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, because it sounds like they're saying the same financial literacy courses that the seniors are taking. So if y'all.
And it is.
If y'all start now, basically, you don't have to worry about your senior year, so I would start it early.
I suggest.
Just ahead.
That is exactly right. Exactly. And you know what? These courses this particular website was introduced to students when you came in as a first year student, as a freshman, in your orientation classes. So by the time you become a senior, you should be really done. You should be done, because if you do not, you don't get a transcript, okay? Your transcript is based on, yes, it is. You're frowning up at me, but yes, it is. Yes, you have to complete this because we don't want you to go out into the world and not know how and not be qualified for anything. You go to school because you want to be able to get stuff, right? You want to be able to get stuff. If you don't have a good credit score, good credit report, she just told you, you will not be qualified to get anything. You might not even be able to get your job that you have studied here for 4 years. But if your credit is bad, you won't be able to get a job in your credit area. So we want you to have that taken care of before you get out there. That's why we start with you in the first freshman year, starting looking at this and being aware of your credit and how important it is. Any questions now?
You have one question right there.
Yes.
What's a good credit score?
She just told you there, it starts at 600 and goes up to 850.
So 600 is bad, or?
Yeah, it's not a good one.
Anything below 650 is considered poor.
Thank you. That is it. So you definitely want, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a question. So I'm going to school for nursing, but I'm also, after that, I'm going to school to get my doctorate degree. So if I'm making, because doctors make on average 6 figures a year, is that enough?
Enough for what?
Like enough to just have in general?
Are you talking about your credit or?
Yeah, like for like.
It is enough. It's all about how you manage it,
Okay.
manage your debt.
Oh, yes, definitely. And you know, it is very important that I saw the monthly planner of keeping up with what your debt is, okay? That's what's important. I do that myself, and I've been working 100 years now. But I still keep up with what I have to pay, okay? I have it listed: rent, mortgage, car, insurance, telephone, heat, air, all of these things you gotta think about when you get out into an apartment. I have those listed, and I have, in the next column, I have the amount that I have to pay. Then in the next column, I've put paid, and I put a check on it, and then those lingering and long time payments, like the mortgage in the car, I have over there ending balance after I make a payment. I wanna know how much is over, that I have left to pay. So therefore, it's a good thing to keep that up. And then each month, right now, I've gotta go back and make my monthly list for March and go down. For each month of the year, I write down everything that I have to pay, and when I've paid it, what the balance is, and I have a check mark over at the end in that last column to see and know that I have paid it. So that helps me to keep up with what I owe. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, all right then. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me. Yes.
Okay, ladies, this concludes today's ACEs. Please make sure that you fill out your name so you can get credit for today. And thank you, ladies, for coming again.
So for the young lady who asked about the salary, what's her name?
Here you go. Thanks. Mister! Is this thing still on?
You left your post before we stopped the recording.
I think I did.
No? Oh, this one?